Can Errol Spence become undisputed at 154, or does he need the Terence Crawford fight to define his career? What's good, everybody? It's your boy Cardinal Red Sports. Let's talk about it. Alright, so it's a lot of talk going on right now. The boxing community on YouTube is pretty much conversating about Errol Spence and his move to 154 and whether he can actually become undisputed at 154. There's people talking that he might be potentially fighting Jermell Charlo or Jermell Charlo. I forget how to pronounce his name. After the Spence-Thurman fight, and it could possibly be for undisputed. And my question is, does it matter if he becomes undisputed at 154, or do you think his career will take a hit because he didn't go through Terence Crawford at 147? I think the Crawford fight at 147, it means a lot to both fan bases. I didn't come in as a Crawford fan. I didn't come in as an Errol Spence fan. So to me, the fight, it doesn't actually have to happen for me to feel like one of those guys could be, solidified as the greatest in the history books when it comes to, the sport of boxing and the welterweight division. I think 154 is super welterweight. I'm not sure if they call it super welterweight anymore, but in the past it's been called super welterweight. So, you can still say that Errol Spence is the king of the welterweight division if he moves up to 154 and becomes undisputed. I guess you would have to give Terence Crawford the second place victory if he becomes undisputed at 147. Because in all actuality, 154 is a tougher division than 147 because harder punchers, bigger guys, you're not going to get those easier knockouts that you would at 147, that at 154. You're dealing with much bigger fighters, much stronger fighters. So if Errol Spence was to move up and become undisputed, take out Jermell Charlo at 154, you would have to give him a huge pat on the back, and you would have to say that he's probably the best of today. It depends, I guess, how you judge it as well. Does it matter what division he did it in, as long as he did it? Are we talking about the best at a specific division, or are we talking about the best of this generation? Because, this generation, I think a generation spans like 5 years in my mind. Because you got Canelo in this generation, even though a lot of people might feel like he's the last generation. But you got Canelo in this generation, you got Spence, you got Crawford, you got the Charlos. A lot of good names. You got Gervonta Davis, you got Devin Haney. A lot of names are in this generation of boxing. So for you to say one guy is the top dog out of all those people, and we're not even mentioning heavyweight, you got the Furies and the Wilders and the Uzekis. Would a Errol Spence at 154 becoming undisputed actually make him the best fighter in the world of this generation? Or let's say Errol Spence does move up and he permanently stays there, he drops his titles, he gets a Charlo fight next, and he actually beats Charlo, and then Terence Crawford turns around and becomes undisputed at 147. At that point, would they still have to fight each other for one of those guys to be considered the best fighter in the world? Or could they just, be respectively the best fighters in the world? One at 147, one at 154. I think it's going to be a controversy personally. I think even if both of those guys achieved undisputed, in two different weight classes, unless they fought each other, that argument's always going to be around. You're always going to wonder who would have won if those two guys fought each other. And the problem is if let's say, Errol does go for undisputed at 154, Crawford goes for undisputed at 147. If they never fight each other at that point, would you consider that an asterisk on both of their careers? How would you view that, as a fan? Would you think that, man, these guys must think that in both of their minds they can't beat each other, or are they kind of just milking, the situation? Because I think if they would have fought each other and one of them would have lost, neither one of them wouldn't be popular anymore. So it's almost like they're riding off of each other's success. Like, okay, as long as we don't fight each other, we both are going to stay popular, and we can go our separate ways once we reach, ultimate popularity. And that's kind of how I feel about it. I don't think those two guys are ever going to fight each other. And I really don't see how they put the Spence-Charlo fight together with those two guys being such close friends, even though I think it benefits both fighters. I think it benefits Charlo to fight Errol, and it benefits Errol to fight Charlo. They can both take advantage of each other's fan base and, try to grow a little bit more. I don't think it would be a huge boost because everybody who knows Errol knows Charlo. Everybody knows Charlo knows Errol. So it won't be like it would be a huge boost in fan. You can't, neither one of those guys' fan bases is going to grow off of that fight. But what will grow is, I think the casual fans would tune in for that one. Just like I think the casual fans would tune in for Spence versus Crawford, just to see who the winner would be. But I don't think either one of those guys would gain any more fan base off that fight. If Errol Spence doesn't end up fighting Terence Crawford, I really think his career is going to take a hit. And if he can't get the Charlo fight, what else is there for Errol Spence to do at 154? He has really no rivalries there. He would have to drop all those titles and basically start over. I mean, he might get a immediate shot at Charlo, but if he loses, then what? I think that's the thing about Errol Spence fans that they're not even thinking about when it comes to him moving up to 154. What if he actually loses? I mean, if him and Charlo get it on, I don't think Charlo's going in there to lose. He doesn't want to lose his position. And I don't think Errol Spence is going to go in to lose, but Errol Spence is entering a new division, and it's always harder for the new guy getting his feet wet to get the victory than it is for the guy who's already been there for a while. So, I don't know, man. I think Errol Spence's career, if he doesn't fight Crawford, I don't think his career will completely tank. But if he doesn't fight Crawford and he doesn't get a Charlo fight, then I think moving up to 154 is a huge mistake. Even though I'm still of the opinion that he's going to fight Crawford at the end of the year for Undisputed at 147. But if Crawford signs the Golden Boy, there is a possibility that doesn't happen. And Errol Spence just has to go in a different direction. Y'all let me know what y'all think about all that down in the comment section below. Hit the like button for me. Share. Subscribe. Holler at me on all social media platforms. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. More than likely to get a response on the tube. Holler at me over there. If you want to collaborate, hit my Gmail, flockofcards@gmail.com. And we are man.
Look, 1 blunt, 2 blunts, 3 blunts, 4 blunts. Now I'm high in a bitch. Nigga, 1 bird, 1/5, I'm nerve. Yo, chick, now I'm high in your bitch. And I must admit, she looking real thick in that fit. Soon as you leave, I walk up, gripping her hips. Have her flipping the script, convince her to strip. You at home shooting free throws, flicking your wrist. But hold up, don't let me get ahead of myself. If you really wanna better your health, getting out of my area helps. What these young niggas carry, you melt your whole clique. She swallowed the whole dick, oh shit. Now let me slow down, cause I'm off the head bitch roll now. They didn't know, I bet they know now. I rep the hometown, Lewis Keys, nigga, let's go. Let's go, my West End niggas, let's go. My East End niggas, let's go. Louisville, let's go. Nigga, let's go. Let's go, nigga, let's go. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, yo, it's sorta like NASCAR. How these niggas take wheels off of fast cars, we not right. About to shine like dandruff and neon lights. Know you feel the shit that we on, right? I got your bitch and she's on pipe, taking pictures of herself. And if you're really slanging, you're snitching on yourself, jerk. So look at it that way. Why I'm looking at your rat from the back way. Then I'm looking for a black in the ashtray.